Thank you, Kam Saab. Thank you, Zara. Thank you, Pathfinder Group, for inviting me. And it's a pleasure. And I would like to, I wanted to do it in a different sort of a format, but I think I'll briefly run through the presentation, give you some numbers. So the size of a small country that we are adding to Pakistan every year. And that requires a lot of investment. That requires a lot of infrastructure to be in place, whether it is roads network, whether it is homes, whether it is agriculture, whether it is water issues. So all those issues are extremely critical because at the level that we are growing in terms of the population in Pakistan. The other slide that I wanted to, a number that I wanted to leave with you is the FDI and the graph that you see here. So if you see the FDI in Pakistan, it's not a graph that is very impressive. So it's not a graph that is showing an upward growth and a trend. So it's a graph that shows that we go up, we come down, we go up, we come down. So, and the highest peak that we have touched in terms of FDI in Pakistan is about 3.5 billion in the last decade. Last year was about 2.6 billion. So very, very small and number in terms of the foreign direct investment that comes to Pakistan. And why is that? Why is this graph not a graph going up every year? And of that investment, of that FDI, we only have a contribution of the construction and housing industry only of 79.4 million. And the construction industry in Pakistan only contributes about 2.5% to the GDP. So Pakistan was one of the first signatories in terms of the adoption of the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals of the UN. And we did make some progress in some of the areas. We haven't made that great progress in some of the other areas. But of those 17 SDGs that which are there, 14 of them relate to somehow come where there is an impact of affordable housing and construction sector on those 17 SDGs. But last 2-3 years have shown immense, with the government focus, we have seen immense growth, and that number has almost doubled in 2 years. So we are now sitting at a mortgage portfolio of the industry at about 200 billion. So that number, and that primarily came in, the last 100 billion came in from the Mera Pakistan Mera Ghar scheme, which was actually a low-cost housing scheme. Use in the markets, which is very, very important and critical, is minimum quality standards in terms of mortgage financing, as well as introducing for the first time environmental and social safeguards in mortgage financing. So we do require banks to put in systems so that the environmental and social safeguards are being adhered to. And they ensure that in the projects that are being implemented, whether it is low-cost housing or any other real estate projects, that these guidelines are adhered to. Our credit guarantee portfolio, which was there, we have introduced that with the government of Pakistan and the World Bank, also brings in, we have signed and issued guarantees which cover credit risk of up to 40% on a portfolio basis, and the guarantee amount that has been issued is about 30 billion. And I'm a firm believer that foreign investment will always follow local investment. It will not be the first. It will not lead the local investment, but rather local investment is the one which will lead the foreign investment. And then lastly, I just want to leave that thought that we want the private sector to take the lead and the foreign, of course, investors to come and work with our private sector and to take the entire agenda that Pakistan has to fruition. So thank you very much for your attention.